All right, good morning, traders. Today is August 21st, 2025. My name is John Kerrigan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all my members. Thank you to everybody out there, podcast land, digiland, cyberland. Thank you for following my content. Thank you for accompanying me on my journey. All right, we're gonna do we're going to do a video this morning, see what happens with the morning open. We're going to trade the morning open live. Going to see what happens right here. Probably going to be patient. I'll be looking for some 10-minute uptrends, 10-minute downtrend. There may be periods of silence. This may be a 4-hour video. I don't expect you to watch all 4 hours, okay? But maybe just skip to the end. You can see the end result for the day. Now, yesterday we left off with gains of close to $40,000 after 4 hours of trading the morning and the afternoon sessions. So we'll see what happens. Again, you're not expected to watch all 4 hours, but if you want to see how I do what I do, maybe watch all 4 hours. You can see I spread out nets of sell orders up above, and I spread out nets of buy orders underneath. Once I find a trend, okay? Once I find a trend, then I start spreading out my nets. In other words, I'm like a fisherman, all right? Start spreading out the nets when I get in the fishing zone, right? Okay, when I get to my territory, I don't know if you've ever been commercial fishing, but you're all assigned a specific territory to fish. All right, so once I get in my territory, start spreading out my nets. All right, so let's go take a look at the markets today. All right, so we got SPY still made a little micro higher high here. Okay, not much of a higher high. Okay, still has not made a higher high. Okay, deep into support, found at 633. Okay, we bounced off of support, 633, and we bounced. It's a nice bounce, $6 bounce right there from 633. Okay, now you can see we're back here at 635, breaking these two lows right here. Probably going to come down and visit the low of day. It may be even lower. All right. Again, we've got a lower high. The bears may be inspired to print a lower low. Now, my pivot is right here where VWAP left off, right here. In addition to, this is the low of day on 8/1, August 1st, anchored VWAP, same spot. So above it, I want to be a bull. Below it, I want to be a bear. Again, on the bull, I want to see them break that double top right there again. All right. For bear, I want to see them break this double bottom right there again. So we'll see what happens here. Gonna probably be a little bit finicky. Probably gonna be a little bit cautious. Okay. Now, if you see price start to run fast, okay, I don't like to chase it. Okay, because nobody wants to be a sucker. So what I tend to do is buy 2 or 10 contracts at market, and then I fan out my rest of my contracts. This would be directional options, okay, underneath the bid. All right, so I get filled underneath the bid. Okay, all it takes 2 to 5, even 1, to let you know that you're in it. Okay, in case it continues to run. Yesterday we had, text calls it the waterfall. Okay, you come right up over the edge and boom, right down into the reservoir. All right, so here we are with SPY on the 10-minute with the pre-market. We're going to mark the high side and the low side of the opening range. Okay, a break of the high side constitutes a possible trade to the upside. A break of the low side constitutes a possible trade to the downside. In addition, we're going to mark off the first 15 minutes of trading. Okay, so we'll put it on a 5-minute chart, and we're going to mark off the first 15 minutes of market activity. that will be called the opening range. This right here, this is called the overnight range. Okay, this is from here to here. This is the overnight morning market range. Okay, then there'll be another one that will probably be inside. It may even overlap underneath here. Okay, that will be called the opening range. This is where we closed yesterday. All right, a failure to fill gap will show weakness on the bull's part, aka strength on the bear's part. Okay, if they can't get the gap fill before noon. Chop. What constitutes chop? Price moving back and forth over VWAP 3 times before noon is chop. It's a recipe for disaster to trade chop. Okay, so you might want to just stand down if you see price doing that. Okay, zipping up, zipping down, zipping up. You know what I'm saying? All that does is chop up your account. You start to chase the breakout to the upside, then you chase the breakout to the downside. Okay, what constitutes me calling uncle? Most of the time, I call uncle on a trade when the 10-minute opposing rubber band candle is broken. So in other words, if I have puts, I'm expecting price to dip lower. Okay, you run off and you break the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle. Okay, over VWAP. All right, that pretty much says my bearish trade is broken. All right, and they're moving to the upside. Okay, so if you break the 10-minute bullish rubber band candle, okay, for VWAP, and I have puts, that's, you know, that would be my trade is definitely broken. All right, so just letting you know. Same thing on the upside. If I have calls expecting price to move higher, a lot of times people like, well, what? For me, sometimes my uncle point, well, most times my uncle point is breaking the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle under VWAP. Okay, that would be a broken trade right there. Okay, rubber band candle is the 10-minute. Now, each time frame has its own rubber band candle. Okay, there'll be a big spike candle that will run through VWAP. Okay, and then there'll be a free-floating candle up above it. Okay, that will be the bullish, the free-floating candle up above it that surpasses the big spike candle. Okay, that will be the bullish rubber band candle. Okay, and then there'll be a big spike down through VWAP sometimes. And then there'll be a free-floating candle below it, below VWAP. All right, no longer attached to VWAP, but below the big spike candle. Okay, that will be the bearish rubber band candle. Okay, so noticing up here, a whole lot more wick than body and tail. Okay, we'll see what happens. Down here, got more tail than body and wick. Could be some chop, could be some consolidation. Okay, market's starting to open up here. Okay, we've got the overnight range marked off. Obviously, it's a very wide range. It's about $4 wide. It's almost wider than my game plan. Okay, we're under VWAP, so this was my pivot right through here. All right, I'm bearish when we're underneath VWAP here. About to break the low side. I'm going to wait for a 5-minute candle to close. Then I'm going to try and get something. I already have some 0 DTE 630 puts. Okay, I already own some that expired today. I like PLTR. I not crazy about the chart right now. In the pullback, I'll look at it in just a minute here. No, no worries, no worries. Give me just a minute to look at it. Let's just get through the opening range, the first 15 minutes, and then we'll take a peek at it. All right, we'll take a run at it. Rod's got PLTR with a swing trade with a target of 170. All right, price came down, and a little touch and go here for all you pilots. A little touch, a little go. All right, testing the pivot right now. See if it can climb on top and consolidate up there. Okay, PLTR. This is the daily chart. Okay, so you go up, you give it up, that's neutral. All right, you see that? You go up, you give it up, it's neutral. It's not bearish yet. If they break, below this area right here, okay, that's getting bearish underneath that. Okay, underneath that 50, underneath see right here 145, underneath 145, that's bearish. So it's neutral. It's not showing any strength. That looks like an exhaustion move. I think possibly you bounce back to the 8 right there. Okay, I think you got a possible move back to the 8 EMA. We'll see what happens. All right, but right there. Again, I like them when they hold the higher ground. Okay, so that's neutral. I don't like it when they go up and give it up. But they may return to the scene of the crime and be back up there. We'll see. So for me, it's not ready yet. All right, but it is bouncing. And on the 10-minute, you got a 10-minute uptrend, okay, from yesterday. And if you get Green erases red up here. Okay, that would be an entry. You're right into resistance right there. So up over 157.36. You know, you could see price start to melt up towards 164. Okay, 164. All right, still no break of the opening range. Of course, the opening range has not been set yet, okay, but you can see of the overnight range. Okay, no break of the overnight range. Here's first 5-minute candle. Let's look at this candle. All right, that's a lot of tail. All right, I think it's equal parts body and wick and tail, so I don't see any edge right there. We are underneath the pivot. All right, so we'll see what happens. Showing some higher lows here and then tail to go up. So it appears to me that they want to run up and tag VWAP right now. That's what it looks like. And yellow, green erases red on the 5-minute. Right up here. Well, over 636.50. So yesterday, I had a big negative position, made close to 47, but I took a portion of that hit, all right, and wound up with a $13,000 plus for the day instead of 47. So you can see I took a big whack there at 34K, but still made my 1%. All right, currently at 331,024 on the account value right now. All right, so that's yesterday. So the 50K, all right, slowly inching my way back. Made 35, made 13. All right, almost got it all paid for. Almost got that boat paid for, a sinking ship right there. That's from me trading the chop. Okay? Bad recipe to trade the chop. And I knew it. And I traded it. Anyways. Alright? And that was a lack of discipline. Right there. That was a lack of discipline on my part. Okay? I'm giving you my mistake so you don't make this mistake of having the lack of discipline. Okay? So try to learn from my mistake. All right? Don't trade the chop. All right? Let the chop break out, then trade. Okay? All right. That's a little lesson for today. Don't forget, today we're going to have members e-learning in the combo room. All right? At 12 o'clock. That's when Doug starts. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, so one of the practices that I have is whenever I buy something here, I may sell it before it gets to my cost basis. So it'll come in as a negative if you look at my P&L. Okay, so I'm going to sell 200. No, just 100. Right. Well, I'm losing it. Okay, so if you look at my P&L, which is not there. Here it is. Okay, so should have had that over there to begin with. As you can see right here, okay, it comes in as a negative, all right? So my cost basis is like 0.26. Okay, but for me, I bought these for 17, 18, and 19 and sold them for 23. Okay, that's a win for me. Even though it shows up as a negative, that's a win for me. All right, that's the way I view it. All right, because my cost basis was way up at 41, and it didn't look like we're going to get anywhere near that early this morning. All right, but these are puts. These are the 630 puts. So for me, even though I got a negative mark there, I sold them for more than what I bought them for. All right, and sometimes that's all I want to do. All right, but that's the mentality behind what I do and how I think. All right, so it didn't come in green as a profit or a gain. It actually came in as a loss, but in my head, that's a win because I sold them for more than what I bought them for. Showing some ascending tails down here. All right, it's almost 9:45. We're going to mark off the first 15 minutes of trading. It looks to me the very first candle set the range right here. So here's our opening range right here. So we're going to look and see who's going to do the breakout. Somebody's going to break out of the opening range. Will it be the bulls? Will they go up and then reverse it and fake us out? Or will it be the bears that continue possible head and shoulders pattern? We'll see what happens. This is the overnight range. This is the opening range right here. All right, I see some bearish activity here. looks like to me like I got a stuck chart because that's not where price would be if the puts are doing this. So here we go. Come on, TC2000, get with the program. All right, you can see right here, I took that, remember I took that $283 loss, okay? But it also set me up, because I brought my cost average down, to make this gain that surpassed the $283 loss, to give me a total of 108 in realized profits, okay? You see how that worked? Okay, again, in my head, I got the win even though it came in as a loss down here. But it brought my cost basis down to a point where it set me up to capture gains to the upside. Right there. Okay, and at the same time I take 100 off because, well, price was moving up and I was owning puts. So it was moving against me. All right, so I wanted to alleviate some of the risk. All right, so I take some risk off, let it pull back some more, get some more even lower. Okay, no bullish rubber band candle has been broken yet, not on the 5-minute. A lot of spike candles again. This is the definition of chop. Under VWAP, over VWAP, under VWAP, over VWAP, under VWAP, way under VWAP, back up over VWAP. Okay, definition of chop here. See all of this? Red, green, red, green, red, green. Candle closes above, candle closes below, candle closes above, candle closes below. Okay? Definition of chop. Right there. Maybe we just chill till we get a nice breakout and we see a nice 10-minute trend. Don't need to repeat what we did on Monday. Okay? Not necessary. Maybe we can just call that a day and say, hey, lesson learned. Right? No screen. All right, you can see, all right, I set up a net of sell orders. Okay, we're under VWAP, so I got puts. Okay. We broke through, but then the bulls recovered it. All right, we'll see what happens. But you can see I set up a net of sell orders. Okay, sell one at 28, one at 29, one at 30, one at 31, and then I set up a net of buy orders underneath. Okay, you can see where the net of buy orders and the net of sell orders have yielded me profits. Okay, so here come the net of buy orders. All right, underneath here. You know, you want them to fill your nets with fish right here. Okay, with buy orders, net of buy orders underneath here. So wait for price to run into my net. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and build out my net of sell orders up above. I got to admit, on the 5-minute chart, sure looking at a lot of tails down here. Okay, puts might not be the best decision. All right, we'll see what happens. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin thinks my nets are cool. So what I look for is like one of these big blasting up where you see a price just blast up there, way, way up there. And that's where I like to sell the whole position, like way up there. Way up there. So I like to try to catch it. It's feeling that way. They've been down there once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I gotta say they're committed. They're committed. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. They don't seem to want to leave the area. The Bears are not finished speaking. That's what it looks like to me so far. We're not leaving the area. I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5. 5th time we're down here attacking this overnight low. Now, usually 2 times, and let's go back in the other way. It seems to be a bridge that they're willing to construct in order to cross the river. That's what I was thinking earlier, Jim, was those tails might be giving us a clue. But also got to look at, they're not giving up the area. They're stuck under VWAP here or under the pivot. They seem to be committed to going lower. And I thought those tails would give us a clue. But it doesn't look like it. It looks like they're more committed to hanging out here and moving lower. Due to the length of time underneath VWAP right here. I mean, this will be the 3rd time today on the 5-minute chart that we attack this number. once on the opening 5-minute candle. Then look at this big spike. And then this one here, right here, is a return to the scene of the crime. All right, when you message me on Teams, right there, Craig, I just dropped it in the chat. All right, when you message me, let me know who you are, so I can just let me know who you are, because I get a lot of unwanted attention. I used to when I was on Skype. Now I don't. I'm not as popular with the ladies anymore, so we'll see. Before they were contacting me all the time. Now not so much. Guess they can't see any photos or so. And back up to touch VWAP again for the 7th time for the 7th 5-minute candle. This is frustrating, Jim. Make up your mind. Do you want to go up or do you want to go down? Thank you, Jim, for sharing existing home sales. Yep, back to the pivot, which is that purple line. Oh, look at that, the double head fake. The double head fake and then the travel into the paint so they can do the layup. Look at that. And now we break. Now we're going to pierce the top. That's a big candle. Yeah, it's a huge candle. Oh, you're in the combo room? We're going to be going over there today, later today at noon. I hear you, KJ. Thank you for sharing your chart, John. We have no trend yet. This would be the 5 minute bullish, because it's on the north side, rubber band candle. 5 minute. Okay, on the 10-minute chart, that's still that would just be a spike candle. Just Okay, so I bought those for 50. All right. Again, I may sell them for more than what I bought them for. I may. We'll see what happens. And wind up with a negative number right here. Which is fine as long as I sell them for more than what I bought them for. You see, I'm in my head, I'm winning. All right? In my head. Remember the Beach Boys song, In My Room? Okay, so in my head, I'm winning because I bought them for 50 and I'm selling them for 55, 56, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. See that? Okay? For me, even though it shows up as a negative, it's a win for me. Now you can see it pulls back. I can reload some of that. It's about the ebb and flow. Okay, so this is a break of the 5-minute bullish rubber band candle right there. That's a break of the 5-minute. On the 10-minute chart, this is the creation of the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle. You can see got kind of like another equal low. See, we got a low, kind of another equal low down here. Eric, I already had some of these calls earlier, and they were underwater. So I'm just working out my position while the market is bullish. Now, if I didn't have a trade on, okay, we're still coming back to the pivot. We're not over the pivot. Based on the 5-minute, the 5-minute rubber band candle is broken. The 10-minute has not been broken yet. I prefer not to chase. All right? I prefer not to chase. But I want to be in it. So we'll see what happens. I'm already kind of in it because I had a leftover position from yesterday that I'm trying to turn around. All right? It was upside down. And I'm trying to bring that back into positive territory. Now keep in mind, if we break this rubber band candle on the 10-minute, the pivot, well, not the pivot, gap fill is right there. And normally after gap fill, they come back to VWAP. But if they have been consolidating up here and they fill the gap, that's a different story. They're probably not going to come back for VWAP. So we'll see. If they consolidate up here and then do the gap fill, I'm not expecting them to return back to VWAP. Yeah, like anywhere from 2 to 5 at market, you know what I'm saying? 2 to 5 at market, and then kind of like to let the rest fan them out below the bid. That's what I like to do, you know. But there's times, like, let me just say, on the waterfall yesterday, right here. I mean, I went down to the 2-minute on that waterfall. All right, I'm gonna pan over. All right, you would not have got in. All right, unless you hit a market order. All right, see, there's no green candles to jump in on the 2-minute. There's nothing there. If you'd have fanned orders, if I'd have put orders underneath, I would have never got filled at the bid or below. I mean, it just drop. And then there's times when it's like that. Sometimes you just have to hit the ask and pray that you're not the sucker. But it's not a good recipe because, you know, you get in the habit of like hitting it hard and then finding out that price reverses on you. Yeah, that's the only way to enter that was to enter by chasing on that. When you see the candles growing in size, typically that is like that. That's like the only way I'm going to get in is to chase it like that. It's either that or put a stop buy order in front of it and let it run into it. Yep, about to break. Here we go. We're going to go do the gap fill thing. Yes, they do. The limit orders are set wherever you are, but price continues to rise and run away from your limit orders, KJ. Okay? You'll see price rise and run away from your limit orders. And then you get the feeling of being left out, missing out, FOMO. You know what I'm saying? You get that FOMO like, oh, I'm missing out on it. Yeah, because when price enters the waterfall, all right, and you bought puts, okay, I mean, you can put an order in at the bid. You might not get filled at the bid. You might have to put one in at like bid +1 or bid +2, which essentially is a market order, all right, in order to get filled. Market orders are easy, all right. The limit orders, I mean, you're hoping you're going to get filled. Market orders, you always get filled, but not necessarily at the price you want. Be careful with market orders because there's some evil brokers out there. They'll just say like, oh well, you wanted this amount, so we filled you way up here. You're better off putting a limit order of bid +1 or bid +2 than putting in a market order, because at least then you're not subject to the broker or the clearinghouse screwing you. All right, because you put a market order, you might get filled for 5 at 70, 5 at 71, 5 at 72, 5 at 73. Whereas if you got a limit order of bid +1, it's either, you're going to get a partial fill at 70. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to just keep continuing to rise it all the way up to 200. Yeah. You kind of want to stay away from the market orders. A bid +1, bid +2 should take care of should solve the problem. You hit market and you're at the discretion of the broker. Like he could just say, well, the 70s got filled, the 71s got filled, 72s, and next thing you know, you're paying 95 cents for some of those contracts that you intended to buy at 70. All right, there we are. It's a break of the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle. We have a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. We still have not gap filled, but we are dangerously close to gap filling. Yeah, they just broke it. They just broke it, but notice gap fill is right here, and the bears appear to be putting up a fight. That should have been touched. Gap fill should have been touched right there. All right. If the bulls cannot gap fill, pennies, it's just pennies above, that's going to show me strength on the bears' part. Okay? So be careful. You want to see that gap fill. If you're going to be a bull today, all right? Without that, that shows me the bears have more strength than the bulls. Well, they pulled back this far. They might as well come back and test the opening range and then rip up out of here. Okay, this is an example of a net of sell orders up above and then a net of buy orders underneath. You know, I come down, I get reloaded, price moves up, I get filled for profits.
Well, I'm getting you all set.